Hello, everyone. In our Parsha of Maseh, the Torah introduces the listing of all of the stops during the sojourn in the desert of Bnei Yisrael by noting Vayichtov Moshe et Motza'ehem Lemasehem. Moshe Rabbeinu recorded all of the stops of their journey al pi Hashem, in accordance with the divine mandate. What does this mean in accordance with the divine mandate? The Ibn Ezra tells us that al pi Hashem davek im mas'ehem. The way to properly read the pasuk is Vayichtov Moshe et motza'ehem. Moshe Rabbeinu recorded all of the stops Lemaseihem al pi Hashem, in their journey that was in accordance with the divine will. They journeyed and stopped where Hashem said. Comes the Ramban, and the Ramban says, Lo kedivrei Reb Avram. I disagree with the Ibn Ezra. Shekvar hodinu zeh. We've already been informed that Bnei Yisrael did all of their travels in accord with the divine mandate. In Parshat Bahalotcha, we are told, Al pi Hashem yachanu, v'al pi Hashem yiso. Everything was by the divine will. Rather, according to the Ramban's understanding of the pasuk, the fact that Moshe wrote and recorded the stops was al pi Hashem. God mandated that these stops, albeit the Torah is not an itinerary book, but for whatever reason, Hashem wanted the stops to be recorded. So according to the Ibn Ezra, the words al pi Hashem modify lemaseihem, and according to the Ramban, it modifies vayichtov Moshe. There's a problem with the Ramban's approach as well. Wasn't all of the Torah written by Moshe Rabbeinu in exact accordance with the divine word? V'zot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael. We actually corrupt when the Torah is lifted after Torah reading and we add al pi Hashem biyad Moshe. That actually doesn't appear as a pasuk in Torah, but nonetheless, we know that everything that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote was in accordance with the will of Hashem, not just their desert itinerary. So we have a difficulty with either of these approaches. One of the Rosh Yeshiva at Yeshiva University, who was one of the Talmidim Muvhakim of Rav Moshe Feinstein, was the late Rav Nissen Alpert Zatzal. And in his Sefer Limudei Nisan, he gives an explanation that I believe addresses the question. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't simply list the journeys, but rather he did it in a way that Bnei Yisrael comprehended that what might otherwise have been assumed by them to be, this is the route that we have to take in the desert. You make a right on Route 2, you go left on Route 4. It wasn't that. The way Moshe recorded it made it clear that every step along the way was al pi Hashem. There's a tremendous lesson in this approach of the Limudei Nisan. Sometimes our leaders have the, if you want to call it Ruach HaKodesh, or the spiritual magnitude, to be able to see things differently than appears to be on the surface. We know, for example, if you were to take the book of Esther, where God's name is not even mentioned, you could read it as another powerful political machination in the realm of Persia and Media. But we know that the name of Hashem is hidden and interwoven, and that everything was guided by Yad Hashem milamala. But someone who doesn't have that spiritual insight looks at it as a power struggle in the Persian realm. Haman, Mordechai, Achashverosh, Vashti, Esther, all kinds of plots behind the scenes, Bigtan Vateresh. Fascinating. It's a political drama. No, it's not a political drama. Hashem directs all of these events. And the truth is, sometimes we won't succeed, but we ought to be asking ourselves every step along our way in our life's journey, why did this happen? What is the relevance to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What can I take from the good news, the bad news, the in-between news? All of the stops on our journey of life are likewise al pi Hashem. It remains for us to discern it and to react accordingly. Shabbat Shalom.